Hey there, welcome back to DR Crypto. It's your boy Robin. We gave David the day off. We're thinking about firing him, but actually we gave him the day off. So you got me and Carl, our producer.
Everybody.
In case you haven't met Carl yet, he's one of the other founders we got here. So either way, thanks for checking us out. If this is your first time watching the channel, a little bit about us here. We do entertainment-focused crypto content and information. So we try to package up all of your news, market analysis, and all that juicy stuff, but pack it up in a nice, fun way that doesn't bore you to death. A little disclaimer about us here. We got intro music going again, so there we go. A little bit about us here. So.
I liked it. It was nice.
It's a cool intro music, man. It's bumping, man. I play it in my car every day.
Give me all the good feels, you know. I just want to keep playing. Just give me all the good feels. Yeah, I got all the good feels.
So a little disclaimer here. Don't take anything that we tell you as financial advice. We do our own research, and we try to shed light on the crypto market. If you're going to invest, just tread carefully. Don't invest anything that you're not willing to lose. With that said, it's always sound practice to do research and invest in sound projects. So, but yeah, that's all up to you on what you do with your cashola. But don't take my advice as financial. Now, a little bit about us here. We are also a very new channel. We've only been around for a little over, well, we've been at it for a few months, but we just started putting the content out recently. So if you want to help us out, subscribe, like the channel. It helps us out tremendously. Just grow with us. Now, so today we're going to keep it short and simple. We're just going to talk about the market and its trends and where it's going. We don't do any financial. We don't do any technical analysis here. So we find that it's pretty boring. It's very good information. I love technical analysis, but there's a place and time for that. Like when you want to go to bed and go to sleep. So we try to avoid too much TA here. So TA free zone, baby. Now, a little bit about so the market today, and then we're just gonna touch on some of the trending articles, some of the big news for the day, and then we're gonna go live again tomorrow. Anyway, now let's get it going. Let's pull up the market. So Bitcoin. 66,000 has been floating around 67,000, hit 68,000 yesterday, which is all-time highs. So we got out of that little buffer zone between 60 and 65,000, which was trading sideways, helping out the alts. But right now we're testing new all-time highs. I could see a $70,000 Bitcoin by the end of the week, which is exciting, man. Like, Carl, are you excited about a $70,000 Bitcoin?
I cannot tell you how excited I am about a 70,000 Bitcoin. We are moving in the direction we all thought we would.
Yeah.
That internal feeling like,
here, man.
Is it not going to happen?
I got the internal feeling.
You know?
I got the internal feeling, but it's more like heartburn. So we had some fish and chips earlier.
I think that was from that McRib sandwich the other day, man.
McRib was.
You're still recovering.
It was so dense. So yeah, with Bitcoin, I honestly, but before it crosses 70,000, I think it's gonna kind of do the same thing it did earlier last week. It's probably going to trade sideways in this window between 65,000 and 70,000, which gives the altcoins a big chance to pop off. So everybody knows when Bitcoin goes sideways, the alts go upwards. So now I like to compare the altcoins to fireworks. They tend to, when Bitcoin goes sideways, alts take their turn. One will pop off, another will pop off, just like fireworks, just one after another, just like but they're all gonna get there. Now, you know where I'm going with this, Carl? Your boy Cardano, man. Your Cardano finally moved, man. So I'm a big Cardano homer. I really believe in the project. Charles Hoskinson is a really intelligent guy. He's so excited about his project. He talks about it so adamantly. So but with that aside, great fundamentals, really cool scalable blockchain technology. So either way, still not a lot of use case as far as implementation in the ecosystem, but it's still sitting at number 4 on the market cap. So right behind Binance Coin. Holy crap. Binance Coin, $628, testing all-time highs. It was sitting at what was it, 680 earlier in the last pump. Let's see here. Yeah, so Binance Coin did take a hit when it caught those regulation issues overseas. So 685 was its all-time high. So we're just $50 shy of ATH here. So that's exciting. I mean, Binance Coin is a widely used chain. So your Pancake Swap, the whole Squid Games thing that happened last week just kind of goes to show you that you can kind of start any project on Binance Coin for very, very low gas fees, and transactions is very fast. A lot of use case, and not to mention it's one of the largest exchanges in the world. So, and that's their token. So, which is also like something about FTX. Like, I'm really bullish on FTX because they are catching so much movement. It was crypto.com, and then it was FTX, which was not very well known. And now, man, FTX just shot by them, as far as their advertising and things like that. So either way, exchange-based tokens always a good investment for the big blue chip players. And Binance also has functionality with the smart chain. So
I hold BNB. I don't know about you, but
yeah, man, it's
a blue chip. It's gonna be in the space for a while. We all see that it's got a strong ecosystem, and then things are gonna move that direction. So
it's only a year ago, it was less than $100.
I know,
BNB, man. Could you imagine? The other day I had my MetaMask wallet, and I forgot that I had some BNB in there for gas fees. So I had like 2.5 BNB, and I was just like, I hadn't opened up that MetaMask wallet in a while. Well, I've opened MetaMask wallet. I just hadn't opened up the BNB, the Binance chain, a part of the MetaMask. So I switched over for some reason to go look at something. And I'm like, all of a sudden I see a balance of $1,500. And it was like 2.7 BNB. I'm like, oh, it's like finding a $20 bill in your pocket. And you're like, oh, well, hello. So, also we got a new player on the block, KDA. Kadena, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Number 57, $21, man. It just 26%, up 26%, just in the last 24 hours. Or actually, hold on, what was it an hour ago, Carl? It was like $16, right?
Yeah, it was at 60 market cap an hour ago. So
really
we are ripping.
Really exciting project. We got
a
deep dive coming into Kadena. In one of our shorts that we're going to do tomorrow. So check out for that. It is very similar to like the Bitcoin network. So it's a proof of work chain, but very scalable. So really excited about it. I did pick some up. So I'm even extra excited now. So now, what else we got? Anything else moving in the market? Oh, Litecoin. Number 14, $260. Bitcoin's little sister, Litecoin, making a lot of movement. You know what? It's not surprising. Every cycle, Bitcoin pumps, and then it, brings a little cousin or sister along with it. Litecoin's a very safe investment. I don't feel like you're ever really going to get rich on it. It's not very sexy blockchain. I guess they're more privacy driven if you're going to compare it to like Bitcoin, a little more scalable, but not the coolest project. But I mean, hey, it ain't going nowhere. Litecoin is here to stay forever.
So. Yeah, if you've made your money in, say, other projects and you want to now transition that money into a more secure, stable kind of ecosystem, maybe something you could hold your value over a period of time a little safer.
Well,
so,
I always
it makes sense for you,
I had the mentality that if you saw Litecoin sitting around a certain price for like 3 months or something and it just hasn't moved in a while, I guess you can say that about any like blue chip project, but that a Litecoin pump is coming.
Yeah, so, right. And the longer they go sideways, the bigger the pump, right?
Mm-hmm. All right. So
juicy.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. We can't end the market analysis now without talking about your boy Shiba and you. Shiba.
Woof.
So yeah, a bunch of zeros and a 5 on the end, and so down from where it was. Was it like a week ago or 2 weeks ago when it was at a bunch of zeros and a 7? It's starting to fizzle out. How do you feel about Shiba?
You know, with any coin in the space, like we just talked about, if anything goes sideways for a little while and you're not sure of it, and then it pumps like crazy and you get that euphoric feeling like if it goes to this amount, I'm going to have that amount of money. If you ever feel that way, I'm like, all right, that's the time to go.
Not the price, but how do you feel about Shiba? How do you feel about meme coins? Are you a meme? Like, there's obviously a space for it. So I'm not saying that, I'm not in that camp that's like meme coin bad, you know, but at the same time, it's obviously not going to contribute much to the financial infrastructure that is coming in the future.
My opinion of the meme coins
has
really changed over the course of this year. I would say I had some anger issues with Elon Musk and Saturday Night Live and all of how that really went down. I didn't invest in any of these. But I think if it brings people to our space and gets them to have fun, gets them to have just to see the ease of how this technology is developing, then it's going to, you know, get them to be looking at other parts of the aspect. And so I think that's really good.
You think Elon Musk has more Bitcoin or more Dogecoin in value, not tokens?
Bitcoin.
Yeah?
100%.
Okay. I figure so,
100%.
but he is that
100%.
He might be that one wallet, though. There's that infamous Doge wallet that has like 30% of the circulating supply. I don't take my numbers here. I have zero idea. But there's one gigantic Doge wallet that is holding some crazy supply.
Didn't Elon Musk just make the offer to donate like $6 billion to the UN to solve world hunger? So if he's got $6 billion for some little project, he might have $6 billion for a Doge. You might be onto something right there. You never know. Yeah.
All right, let's pull up some articles. What do we got? What are we talking about? What's trendy?
Well, today we're going to talk about Mr. Tim Cook. Okay. And his declaration of that he actually owns cryptocurrency. Wow.
Mm-hmm. What's he own? He owns just Bitcoin, right?
Bitcoin.
That's what he said, right?
Yeah.
I bet you he's got some Ethereum.
Yeah, I think it's crypto. I think it's Ethereum as well as Bitcoin. I think those are the two that he said he has.
He said he has Ethereum?
Yeah, I think those are the two. I think those are the two that he actually admit it. But what I think is really interesting about this space is that you have the CEO saying that he's going to have it under his personal portfolio, but then the company itself has not revealed that it has.
What did he say about that? I know he said that they don't have any. They don't plan on buying it. Or
right.
What was the wording for that?
He says, furthermore, the company Apple does not have any holdings in crypto, nor does Apple have any plans to join the countless companies that have already added crypto to their portfolio. However, there are other things we're definitely looking at. And so what that tells me as a driver in the tech space is that they want to have some control over the space they're going to invest in, so that if they were to hold Bitcoin, they would like to do things in the tech world that would make their investments more bullish and go up, right? And then the other part of it seems like, well, because this is like a publicly traded company that has shareholders, and some of those might be established money that really feel more comfortable in the traditional finance terms, they might have these shareholders that say, you know what, I'm not really comfortable with you actually purchasing Bitcoin to hold under it.
Yeah, you got to think they're a smartphone computer technology driven company. So if you take somebody like MicroStrategy, for example, they're an investment firm. So they do take their cash on hand or other people's money, basically, and then they invest it in a variety of assets and derivatives. A company structure like that can more readily invest their cash on hand and assets and debt in things like Bitcoin. And somebody that like your Google and your Apple and other like large institutions that are publicly traded that have shareholders, they have to justify where they're going to move their cash on hand. And then you get into this weird territory of volatility, and then that's all tied into your balance sheet. So if all of a sudden Bitcoin takes a dive and you lose, and then on your balance sheet you're going to be reporting a loss for your quarter 4 or 1 or whatever it is, and so it gets pretty technical on how to invest when that's not your primary focus when you're investing. So, I will say though, when Apple does integrate cryptocurrency payments into their like software, and their Apple Wallet and things like that, they're gonna have to have some on hand. And when that happens, because I mean it's coming, you've seen the job posts. So they have Apple cryptocurrency hiring, blah blah blah. So it's a space they're going to get into, and a space that all tech companies I think are going to get into eventually. But
yeah,
when they do, yeah.
I would think even if they don't want to invest in the vehicle itself, they're very interested in the highway.
Oh yeah,
they're very interested in the highway.
They're building the highway right now.
Exactly, they're very interested in the highway. So that's something to always keep in mind. So let's move on. Next, we're going to talk about some NFTs a little bit and how this market is starting to develop lately. The OpenSea has now declared a little bit more dominance in the space, coming into number 2 just under Axie. And they're over $10 billion, $10.3 billion worth of transactions since launching in 2017. And yeah, so we're starting to look at the NFT space being OpenSea and Axie. And then we also have, I guess, there's DappRadar's Larva Labs and the CryptoPunks, as well as the top shot from NBA. And so these are kind of the leaders in the space, but you know, the first movers always kind of pave that highway, that road for us, and we can see how this whole space is going to move.
It's crazy that they're transacting that much money, and the gas fees are so high. And you always hear these like horror stories that the NFT itself was $100, but your gas fee was $500, or something like that. So it just goes to show you like how powerful that ecosystem is, that if you're willing to spend 5 times the value of your product and just to execute your minting or your trading or selling or whatever it is. So
you must believe in it, right?
Yeah,
you must believe
it's the future. I mean,
100%.
I think right now with the NFT space, you have the right now it's really like art focused, but if you really dig into the NFTs and you go down that rabbit hole, there's so much potential with NFTs. Like, you know, with music, with tickets, sporting events, with tokenizing important documents. So deeds to houses, your car loans, land, things like that, or even your personal identification. And then either way, it's extremely vast, the possibilities of NFTs, and we're just scratching the surface. The art just is simple. It's just a freaking image. They're just adding a unique barcode or a unique blockchain address on there, or like UPC or whatever it is. Anyways, and then you can follow it around, see where it goes. But
well, I'm extremely bullish on the space, and somebody else is also, but is warning about an NFT winter. That thinks there could be a little pullback.
So GaryVee, a very smart guy, a lot of traditional finance experience. So with GaryVee, I agree with him 100%. Do you agree with him? You think we're overextended on the NFT marketplace?
I do, but I think I'm kind of in disbelief of the NFT marketplace and how they could have gone so high so quickly. That's the only reason. It's just because it could go higher. It could be the sky's the limit. But
it has very similar makings to the early days of crypto. So it's a new emerging technology right now. You know, at least this sector of the this sector of the NFT space is new. It's emerging. It's exciting. It's cool. You're getting to mint new NFTs. You're starting to expand on the possibilities of use. Corporate is starting to get into it as far as corporate America and monetizing some of their athletes and some of the clips. You see where the market's going. So either way, it's still so new. So just like the cryptocurrency in its infancy, you got a ton of new projects, a bunch of crap projects.
Yep.
So obviously there will be a couple winners, long-term winners, a lot of the blue chips, but those are going to be hard to spot right now. I mean, we're under the assumption that the CryptoPunks are probably here to stay forever, but outside of the few top projects, outside the apes and the CryptoPunks, I'd imagine that it's a lot of the projects are just going to dump when the market crashes. So I would proceed with caution. I'm not heavily invested in NFTs. I'm more invested in the platforms. So for me, I don't know. I don't have an eye for discovering the next potential NFT, even though there's, just like a regular cryptocurrency project, you can vet the NFT platform, you can vet the artists, you can look at their social media, see the team. So it's a lot of comparisons to the cryptocurrency as far as research, but yeah.
I think for me, I enjoy application more than I enjoy just the collectorship of something. So if I can get something in a game that I value, like a sword or an axe in some game that I'm playing, and that's actually really unique and worth value that I could trade on a marketplace.
You mean like tradable NFTs like that you earn from a video game, like the Axie Infinity kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Something that's generated in that space that I can go onto the game and actually apply that applicated NFT that I've acquired, versus just having something in my virtual world that I would like to show off on my Twitter feed. It doesn't really give me that drive. But if I had something and I was actually applying each day, I feel like, oh man, I'd go for it. I couldn't wait to get those great things.
The yacht apes actually look pretty cool. I will say there's a lot of cool looking NFTs.
There's a lot. Yeah, and, the bored apes, the crypto dads. Yeah, there's some cool stuff. There really is.
So,
there really
I don't
is.
know. It's fun. Just like anything else, just be prepared to invest what you're willing to lose. And at the end of the day, even if you lose your investment, you still have the artwork.
You still have the NFT. Yeah, exactly.
If you get one you really like, you think it's cool, you'll make a profile picture. It's one of whatever. It's unique. Then
you think it could be the opposite of like the 10,000 Bitcoin for a pizza argument of saying, I gave away my 105 ETH
maybe
for this.
I mean, there's people that can say that about the crypto punks right now. But even if the project gets rug pulled, you still have the NFT. If you invest in a shit coin and then it gets rug pulled, you have nothing.
That's true.
At least you get a piece of art to remember it by. So.
So right-click, copy-paste. That's what you do. These images, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's how rug pulls work for NFTs. But
all right, so moving on, we're going to talk about the BlockFi seeks SEC approval for a physically backed Bitcoin ETF.
BlockFi, man, getting into the ETF game.
They're moving. They're driving
That's
it.
Cool,
They're
man. Grayscale's doing the same thing. So I mean, I guess that makes sense. Obviously, I feel like that would get approved, right? I mean, they already approved the Valkyrie and the
the futures one.
Yeah,
so.
the other one as well. So there's two futures ones here in the U.S. that are trading. They're highly successful. They sold out instantly, basically. It's not surprising. Anything else on that one?
I was going to say, just as the SEC is developing this space, I think they just want to tiptoe it, and so we can kind of see these things coming along. That they just, they want to just, make sure they do it right. They don't want to make any mistakes here. This is a really big thing. Yeah.
So if you think about it this way, if you're not familiar, just a quick little explanation of the futures ETF. If you're not familiar with it, so you have your physically backed ETF. That one is where if I buy a Bitcoin, the institution that runs the ETF has to in turn buy a Bitcoin in correlation to what I have. And the same thing, they'll sell it as well if I sell it. So with the futures ETF, it's just basically they're just betting on the price. So you're betting on where Bitcoin will be, and you either profit or don't on that. So with the spot ETF, with that they have to physically buy it. So basically, if you were to implement a spot ETF, then what ends up happening is, if they introduce one right now, Wall Street, well, I would assume it would be tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars that would instantly go into Bitcoin from the traditional investors that can't really acquire Bitcoin either through their corporate channels right now because of the way that the market is set up. Or, sometimes old people that have been in the space for a while, that have been using the traditional financial markets, don't feel comfortable buying and setting up a wallet. So it's a different channel for them to use that. But either way, it would be huge volatility. So I think the path of dip your toe in the water and try out the futures ETF before you release the demon and do the spot ETF, because the price is gonna just skyrocket. So just be aware of that. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of traditional investors that don't really feel safe in the Bitcoin space, but when they start going on these ETFs, it's like an actual part of their world. Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. So if we move on, we can hear about Bloomberg talking about they think an Ethereum futures ETF is likely to be approved before a physically backed Bitcoin ETF.
I mean, that makes sense.
I think so too. Yeah, just by what you said about explaining differences between the futures and the physically backed.
Yeah, I would like to see the physically backed Bitcoin ETF hit first, but realistically speaking, it's probably Ethereum. I don't think anybody else will. I think it'll just be Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, because a lot of corporate assets, as far as crypto holdings, tend to be just split up between Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I wouldn't expect to see Cardano or anything like that right now, at least not in this year or this cycle. Maybe in a couple years from now, but.
Yeah, I think you're correct. There's such market dominance by those two leaders that it really doesn't make sense to have space for others.
Yeah, well,
not yet.
Yeah, I mean, they've been around for a while, so, you know.
One thing I think is interesting about this article is that it has the Bloomberg Intelligence Analysis. And, this is like a traditional finance company that probably purported that Bitcoin was a joke for the first 5 or 6 years of its inception. So now they want to come into the space and act like the experts again. And it feels a little bit like...
I bet you they hired experts, though.
It's true. It's true. They definitely have a lot of money behind it.
I wonder how the interview process went for that.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit different on the timeline. Sure, they want to talk about it. Sure, they want to say that they were in the space to predict that. And whenever it happened, they were there to tell it first, that sort of thing. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit later, even 2023.
So I'm assuming now that they've probably hired some experts to consult and obviously do research and look into projects and to advise their traditional clients as well. But I'm assuming that was that the last article? Or we got anything?
Actually, there's one more.
Okay,
there's one more article.
Yeah, no, I wonder how the interview process went at Bloomberg. Like for the first crypto guy, like you got these like bunch of these old fiat money guys at this traditional investment platform, and they're interviewing somebody in the crypto space that they talk so much crap about. Like, how do you think that interview went, bro? You think it was like intimidating, or do you think they were like curious and listening, or do you think they were like trying to get the guy to like buy some traditional 401k? Like, what do you what do you think the interview?
Honestly, I think it's like 19-year-old Will Clemente coming in there with a baseball cap and his Nike sneakers. And
you don't even think he had a suit and tie on?
I don't even think he had a suit and tie on, man. I think they came in and he was like, "No, I've been hacking since I've been 15."
You're right,
they're like, "All right, you're our guy." Because the traditional ones are just like, "You're not experts. You may talk a big game, but I don't think you're really in the space if you're over there." So I don't know. Okay. I don't know, but you're right. It probably was a really interesting situation. I would have loved to be the fly on the wall for that one.
Went in there with a fucking skateboard.
Yeah. Let me talk about one more article before we move on and do the closeout here. I want to talk about the UK Treasury and the central bank will consult on a CBDC potentially launching by 2030, and so this is big. This is the big government's finally saying, you know what? How are we going to get involved in our terms? And I think this is really it's like the biggest thing to confirm that this technology is the future, and I think it tells a lot of people, hey, if you thought you were late, you're not. You're so not.
Oh, definitely not.
Look at this. I mean, by 2030, you still have 8 more years. 8 more years to figure out, how is crypto going to fit into my life? And
well, it makes sense. I mean, you think about it this way: you have the #1 economy out of the EU, the European Union, and I mean that's literally across the pond. All the finance goes through Europe. I mean, through the UK. So I would imagine implementing the stable coin and going through the central banks and all of that jazz, it's got to be a nightmare to institute that. So 8 years, I think, is actually pretty bullish, honestly, man. If for them to change one emission law, it takes like 15 years to go into effect as far as, some goal. So for them to say we're going to do digital money and just extrapolate that out only 8 years, that's pretty impressive. So, but it also goes to show you that the government is tired of private businesses making money off of their stablecoins. So, yeah.
One thing I think is interesting here is also the Bank of England added no decision has been made on whether the UK would be introducing a CBDC in the future. And so they're going to start a consultation on the possible rollout of that, what that might look like.
I thought I thought this article was in reference to them actually rolling one out. So
yeah, so it seems like this is just another one of those articles of saying, we're going to put out this information, and if we're in the space, look how early we were, and if we weren't, look, we poo-pooed on it. So I don't think there's either way to say one way or another.
Governments are going to get left behind. Money is going to leave your traditional savings accounts, and it's going to sit in exchanges, and it's going to sit in third parties like Aave and Celsius, and they're going to accrue interest. So at some point, traditional finance is going to be like, where'd our money go? Or look how much money somebody else is making. They're going to want a piece of the pie. And you know what, maybe this 2030 deadline is going to get expedited, and they're going to see that money is just bleeding out from all kinds of different areas. And you're also going to see the success of other countries. So, I mean, I would imagine that El Salvador, I mean, they're sitting pretty good. I think they bought almost all of their Bitcoin under 50,000. We're going to be hitting a $70,000 Bitcoin here in the next week or two. So, I mean,
yeah, good on El Salvador.
So anyways, like if you take that as just as an example of what can be done in just a short 4 months, and then you extrapolate El Salvador or other countries that are implementing blockchain in the layer 1 or the ground level of their financial infrastructure, then they're going to be so far ahead of the game come 10 years from now that countries even like a US and the UK are going to be playing catch up. So I don't know. I mean, that's the way I feel. But you know what? A little interesting side note with CBDC. So with your dollar pegged currency, like the U.S. is this whole narrative that it's bad, blah 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 blah. Anyways, the U.S. is making a lot of money. So Tether, for example, over 80% of their assets are backed by $1-to-1 dollars. So if you're in China, for example, China's got the ban on crypto. But anyways, let's say you're in South Korea and you wanna, you're using an exchange and you're holding some money in USD stable coin, whether Tether, whatever it is, and it's backed 1-to-1 by the dollar. Then that overseas money that's in Tether is now in the U.S. government. You're investing in the U.S. government because it's backed. So, and I know Tether's not 100% backed, but majority of it is. So, either way, that's a lot of money. I mean, what's the market cap for Tether?
Yeah,
$73 billion. That is more than a lot of like national. So, if you take $73 billion in Tether alone, and you would say 80% of it is backed by the dollar. So you're over $50 billion. You're already like a top 20 country just alone there. So that's a lot of money from outside the borders that is invested in the U.S. So but the U.S. just doesn't want you to use a savings account, and U.S. wants you to use a savings account and not earn interest on your dollars in a new format. But
they don't like competition, so we'll see a showdown.
Yeah. So. All right. You got anything else there, dude?
I think that's it for today. It was a good show.
I'm going to run that outro music. There we go. All right. So, thanks for tuning in. If you didn't get a chance to drop a subscribe or a like, once again, we're a brand new channel. We're trying to grow, so grow with us. We're going to do a live